Leadership is not a title. It's not your salary. It's not how many people report to you. It's what happens in the dark, when no one's clapping, when everything's on fire, and when you realize the real weight of leadership isn't what you do, it's what you carry. This isn't a list of inspirational quotes. This is the truth, the side of management no one puts in the handbook. The uncomfortable, often painful, always necessary truths. And if you can't handle them, you don't deserve the position. But if you can, if you face these truths, you'll become the kind of leader people would follow into the storm. So take a breath, because these 16 truths, they're going to cut deep. But every cut will shape you. Let's begin. Number 1, they're quitting you, not the job. People don't leave bad jobs, they leave bad managers. You can offer a 6-figure salary, free lunches, team outings, the fancy titles, but if you are the reason someone dreads waking up in the morning, they're already halfway out the door. Here's the truth no one tells new managers: the moment you step into leadership, you become someone's reason to stay or someone's excuse to leave. It's easy to blame turnover on market trends or Gen Z entitlement, but look closer, ask the real questions. Did you listen? Did you support? Did you recognize effort? Or did you micromanage, dismiss, and burn people out while calling it standards? Talent doesn't vanish, it walks into another company and thrives under someone else. That should haunt you. The dangerous part? Most managers don't even realize they're the problem. Because no one tells them the exit interview is too late. The signs subtle, missed, ignored. Quiet quitting, that's not laziness, that's disengagement. And disengagement starts when a leader stops leading and starts controlling. You can't coach someone you don't understand. You can't motivate someone you never listen to. And you can't retain someone you don't respect. Look, leadership is hard, but don't confuse difficulty with cruelty. Tough love is earned, respect is built, and trust? That's maintained daily. You want loyalty, then lead with integrity. You want performance, then stop being the obstacle. Because in this game, you're not just managing tasks. You're managing someone's career, someone's potential, someone's self-worth. That's power, and if you abuse it, you lose it. They're not quitting the company, they're quitting you. And if that sentence stings, it should. Number 2, you are your team's ceiling. Here's a hard truth they don't print on company posters: your team will never grow past you. Not your title, not your years of experience, your mindset, your capacity, your discipline, your ability to evolve. Every limitation you refuse to overcome becomes their ceiling. Think about that. If you lack emotional intelligence, they inherit chaos. If you're a poor communicator, they operate in confusion. If you're stagnant, they stop growing, and if you lead in fear, they'll never risk greatness. You are their mirror, their blueprint, their emotional thermostat. When you're calm in crisis, they follow suit. When you panic, they shatter. That's not a theory, that's leadership in action. The best teams aren't the ones with the most skilled individuals. They're the ones with a leader who sets the standard and raises it constantly. You want your team to be bold, be courageous first. You want them to learn fast, then you better read, adapt, ask, unlearn. You want innovation, kill your ego, invite ideas. Accept being wrong, because here's what no one tells you: the moment you stop growing, they stop believing. You cannot teach hunger if you're full of excuses. You cannot demand discipline if your calendar is chaos. And you cannot preach excellence if you settle for mediocrity behind closed doors. Want better outcomes from your people? Stop looking at them, start looking in the mirror. The truth is brutal. You are not managing people. You are multiplying your limitations, unless you do something about them. And yes, it's exhausting. That's the cost of leadership. You don't get to coast. You don't get to say, "That's just how I am," not when other people's success depends on who you're becoming. You're either leveling up or you're dragging everyone down with you. So let me ask you, when your team looks up, what do they see? A leader who evolves, or a ceiling they'll never break through. Number 3, your title doesn't earn respect. I'm the manager, I'm the director, I'm the VP. So what? Titles are rented, respect is earned. The minute you think your title guarantees influence, you've already lost it. People don't follow a nameplate on your desk, they follow your actions when no one's watching. You want their respect, then stop using authority like a hammer. Start leading like a human, because here's the truth. If your people only listen to you because they fear you, you've failed. True leadership isn't about being obeyed, it's about being trusted. Anyone can give orders, real leaders give direction. Think back to the best leader you ever had. Was it their title that moved you? Or how they showed up every single day? Consistent, clear, honest, committed? The title might have got them in the room, but it was their character that made you want to stay. Insecure managers hide behind roles. Real leaders rise beyond them. Because a title means nothing if your team doesn't feel safe. It means nothing if you don't deliver on promises. It means nothing if you're unreachable, uncoachable, and untouchable. Default text. Here's what happens when you chase the title instead of the transformation. You become obsessed with how you look instead of how you lead. You become territorial, paranoid, defensive, and your team, they feel it. They stop speaking up. They stop asking questions. They stop trusting you. Why? Because respect doesn't come from hierarchy. It comes from humility. You sweep the floor when no one asks. You admit when you're wrong. You show up, even when it's inconvenient. That's where respect is born. Don't let the illusion of power stop you from doing the real work. Because the truth is simple. If your nameplate fell off tomorrow, would they still follow you? If the answer is no, then the title was never leadership. It was just decoration. Number 4, your team sees everything. Think you're hiding it well. Think again. Your team sees everything. Every eye roll when someone speaks. Every time you play favorites, every deadline you blow off. Every time you dodge accountability. They're not blind, they're just silent. And silence doesn't mean loyalty, it often means disappointment. See, as a leader, you're always on stage, but you're never handed a script. Every action, every decision, every contradiction, it's being watched. And more importantly, it's being remembered. You say we're team ... but you give special treatment to one person? Noted, you preach accountability ... but never own your own mistakes? Noted, you promise change ... but deliver excuses? Noted, your words set the tone, but your actions set the truth. And once trust is broken, it doesn't scream, it whispers. In hallway conversations, in passive disengagement. In quiet job applications submitted on lunch breaks. Here's what most managers get wrong. They assume leadership is about what you say no. Leadership is about what you consistently do, especially when it's inconvenient. Your team sees your standards. Your energy, your blind spots, your double standards. Your inability to confront the real issues. And the painful part, they mirror it. Your inconsistency becomes their confusion. Your indecision becomes their fear. Your avoidance becomes their culture. You're not just managing performance, you're modeling permission. So if you're wondering why morale is down, why accountability is low, why initiative is missing, look in the mirror before you look at them, because if you're sloppy, they'll be lazy. If you're reactive, they'll be chaotic, and if you're uninspired, they'll eventually check out completely. You want excellence from your team, then lead with integrity they can actually see. They don't need a perfect manager, they need a consistent one. One who shows up the same, with or without pressure. One who owns mistakes and fixes them. One who doesn't just preach values, but lives them. Because trust isn't built through grand speeches. It's built in the quiet moments when no one thinks you're watching, but your team always is. Number 5, you will be someone's villain. You did everything right, you were fair, you communicated clearly. You made the best call with the information you had. And still, someone sees you as the villain. That's leadership. See, No matter how thoughtful you are, no matter how transparent, how kind, how professional, you will make decisions that hurt someone's feelings. You will challenge someone's comfort. You will be misunderstood, misquoted, misjudged. Because leadership isn't a popularity contest, it's a responsibility. And responsibility sometimes requires tough calls. Letting go of the wrong person, calling out behavior that others let slide. Saying no when the room wants a yes. And when you do that, someone will write their own version of the story. In their version, you're the bad guy. It doesn't mean you are the villain. It means you had the courage to act when others wouldn't, and that courage comes at a cost. People might question your motives. They might whisper. They might even leave, but your job is not to be liked by everyone. It's to do what's right, even when it's hard. You can't coach performance and protect every ego. You can't demand accountability and still expect applause. Leadership demands that you carry tension. Between compassion and candor, between empathy and execution. Between being human and making hard decisions. And here's the truth, if you're never the villain in anyone's story, you're probably not leading boldly enough. Because real leadership will disrupt comfort, it will challenge mediocrity. It will force people to confront their own patterns, and not everyone is ready for that. So what do? You let them tell their story. And you stay committed to your values. You document your integrity, you protect your character. And you lead forward anyway. Because at the end of the day, the goal isn't to avoid being the villain. The goal is to be able to look in the mirror and say, I led with truth. I led with courage. I led with purpose. Number 6, your feedback won't always land. You gave the feedback. You were clear. You were professional. You expected change, but nothing changed. Confused, frustrated, welcome to leadership. Here's the truth most managers learn the hard way. Just because you said it, doesn't mean they heard it. And just because they heard it, doesn't mean it landed. Feedback isn't a transaction, it's a translation, and you're not just speaking words. You're speaking into people's self-worth, past experiences, insecurities, and trust levels. Some people take feedback as fuel. Others take it as a threat, and the difference is often in how you deliver it and how safe they feel with you. Did you give that feedback in front of others? Did your tone carry judgment or curiosity? Was it tied to a standard or just your frustration? Feedback without trust feels like criticism. Feedback with trust feels like growth, and your timing, it matters. You don't coach someone in the middle of their storm. You don't drop a truth bomb during their lowest moment. You wait, you assess, you approach with wisdom. And don't forget, even the best feedback can bounce off the wrong ego. You might be 100% right and still hit a brick wall. That's not failure. That's the complexity of humans. So what do? You stop expecting immediate transformation. You detach from outcome. And you focus on delivering feedback that's honest, timely, and rooted in care, not control. Because real leaders don't just give feedback. They build the environment where feedback is actually heard. You want feedback to land, then build trust before you build pressure. Show consistency before you demand change, and model growth before you expect it. Here's the uncomfortable reality. Some of your feedback will fall flat. Some people will reject it. Some will twist it. Some will ignore it entirely. That doesn't mean you stop. It means you keep planting seeds and let time do its work, because feedback isn't about control. It's about invitation, an invitation to become better. One they may not accept right away, but one they'll remember if you deliver it with wisdom and respect. Number 7, some people won't change. You've been patient, you've coached, you've mentored. You've shown them the way, and yet, they're still stuck in the same patterns. Some people won't change. Let that sink in for a moment. It's tough to admit, right? Because as leaders, we want to believe that everyone can improve. That with the right guidance, the right tools, and the right mindset, anyone can grow. But here's the hard reality. Not everyone will, and that's okay. You can't change people who don't want to change. It's easy to think it's your job to fix everything, to unlock potential, to turn failures into successes. But the truth? People are only as open to change as they are ready to be. And it doesn't matter how much you care, how much effort you put in. If they haven't made the choice to change, you can't force it. Here's the kicker: you can't spend all your time on people who won't change, because doing so only drains your energy and momentum. And worse, it makes you neglect the people who are ready to grow, ready to step up, and ready to lead with you. As a leader, your job is not to change everyone. It's to inspire change in the people who want it. It's to identify who's ready to evolve and invest in them. For the ones who aren't, you have to let go. And I know that's a tough pill to swallow, but you cannot be everything for everyone. Some people are stuck in their comfort zone. Some people are unwilling to evolve. Some people just aren't meant to move forward with you. And that's a hard truth, but it's necessary for your growth and your team's. So what do? You let them be. You stop trying to change someone who isn't ready to change. You stop bending yourself in knots for someone who's not open to your help. And you focus your energy on those who are ready to rise. If you hold on to people who refuse to grow, you're denying the team the chance to move forward. The best thing you can do for your team is create space for those who are ready to level up. Remember, you can't help someone who doesn't want help. Leadership is about letting go of the dead weight and choosing to work with those who are hungry, driven, and ready to grow. Number 8. Your silence is permission. Silence, it's easy to hide behind. It's comfortable, isn't it? Sometimes it feels like the safe choice. But here's a bitter truth: your silence is permission. And the longer you stay silent, the more you allow the wrong things to fester. As a manager, you're not just the one who sets direction, gives feedback, and drives performance. You're the barometer of the culture in your team. Every moment you stay silent in the face of inappropriate behavior, bad attitudes, or poor performance, you're sending a message. A message that says, it's okay when someone interrupts another in a meeting and you don't say anything, you're saying it's okay. When a team member blames others but never takes responsibility, and you say nothing, you're saying it's okay. When someone is disrespectful, and you don't call it out, you're saying it's okay. This is leadership at its most subtle, yet its most dangerous, because culture is shaped by what you tolerate, not just by what you say. You may think you're letting things slide, but your silence is creating a silent acceptance of the behavior. It's permission for the unacceptable, and over time, this silence becomes toxic. It erodes trust, it weakens standards, it lets mediocrity seep in like a slow poison. It gives a green light to behaviors that undermine your entire team. The hard truth is that you cannot remain neutral. If you want your team to be high-performing, you have to be willing to speak up when things aren't right. You must be willing to address the uncomfortable, the awkward, and the unpleasant. Let me put it this way: a culture of respect is only as strong as your willingness to defend it. So the next time you see something that doesn't align with your values, your team standards, or your goals, don't stay silent. Address it, correct it, lead by example. Your silence may seem harmless in the moment, but it's an endorsement of what's happening. It's your way of saying, I'm okay with this, and when you're okay with it, they think you're all okay with it. So here's the question: what do you stand for? What are you willing to tolerate? And if your silence is allowing things to slide, are you willing to speak up, even if it's uncomfortable, because your silence is never neutral? It's permission, and permission is powerful. It either empowers positive behaviors or it enables the bad ones. Number 9, being liked versus being respected. The desire to be liked, it's natural, right? We all want to be that leader people feel comfortable with. The one who's approachable, relatable, and, yes, liked. But here's the harsh truth: being liked can sometimes cost you the respect you need as a leader. And the need to be liked often conflicts with the need to be respected. As a manager, you face this tug of war every day. You want people to like you. But your job is not to be liked, your job is to lead. And sometimes leadership means making tough decisions, holding people accountable, and challenging the status quo, things that may not always make you popular. Let me break it down for you. Respect is earned through your actions, consistency, and values. Being liked is about comfort, respect comes from trust, integrity, and delivering results. And sometimes the choices you make as a leader won't win you any popularity contests. You can't always give people what they want. You can't always avoid conflict. You can't always make them feel good in the moment, but you can always do what's right. When you prioritize being liked, you end up compromising your leadership. You may give in to demands to be the nice boss, but this means letting bad behavior slide, allowing poor performance to persist, and ultimately, sacrificing your team's growth. Here's the truth, and it's a tough pill to swallow. If you're trying to be liked by everyone, you'll become a doormat. You'll dilute your own authority, and when things go wrong, no one will take you seriously. So what's the solution? Shift your focus from being liked to being respected. It doesn't mean you need to be a dictator, harsh or cold. It doesn't mean you alienate your team or make them dread working with you. But it does mean that you set boundaries. It means you make hard decisions with conviction. It means you don't cave to pressure just to avoid conflict. Leadership is about making the tough calls, doing what's best for the team and the organization, even when it's uncomfortable. And the best part, respect, over time, will earn you loyalty. Respect will get you results, and yes, respect will even get you liked eventually. But being liked without respect, that's a shallow connection. And in the long run, it won't hold up. So the real question you need to ask yourself is this: what kind of leader do you want to be? One who's liked but doesn't have real authority? Or one who's respected and trusted to lead, even when it's hard? The choice is yours and the consequences are yours too. Number 10, non-decisions are decisions. You've probably been there before. The situation is complicated, the stakes are high, and you're unsure about making a decision. So, you delay, you wait, you hesitate. But here's the reality: in leadership, inaction is still a choice. Your non-decision is a decision. Every time you avoid making a hard choice, whether it's addressing a problem, confronting a performance issue, or making a strategic decision, you are making a decision by default. And often, that decision is to let things slide. It's a decision to let problems fester, to allow issues to grow bigger, to become more complicated, and to eventually consume more of your time and energy. Here's where it gets dangerous. Indecision drains your team's trust. When your team sees you failing to make decisions, they begin to question your leadership. They start to wonder if you're capable of guiding them, if you're strong enough to lead through tough moments. And when decisions are left hanging, your team loses momentum. The uncertainty makes them hesitate in their own roles, waiting for clarity that never comes. And this stagnation, it slows the entire team down. Let's be real, indecision is a form of avoidance. It's often driven by fear, fear of making the wrong choice, fear of upsetting someone, fear of failure. But here's the harsh truth: as a leader, you can't afford to fear making decisions. You must be willing to make the hard calls, even if they don't come with guaranteed success. The key here is understanding that not deciding is, in itself, a decision to let things drift. It's a decision to avoid addressing the problem. And eventually, problems that are left unaddressed will explode. So what can you do instead? Make the decision, even if it's not perfect. Take action and course correct as needed, but don't stand still. Don't let indecision hold you and your team back. A real leader steps up when it's tough. A real leader doesn't wait for the perfect moment, they create it. They understand that every decision is a step forward, even if it's a misstep. The hard truth: making no decision is still a decision, and it's one that will cost you. So get comfortable with making decisions. Not just the easy ones, but the tough, messy, and sometimes risky ones. The longer you avoid decisions, the more you leave the door open for chaos to creep in. The longer you delay, the harder it becomes to take control. So step up, make the call, and lead with conviction. Number 11. Real transparency is scary. Transparency. It's a buzzword in leadership circles, right? Everyone talks about being transparent. It's the gold standard of good leadership. But let me hit you with a harsh reality. True transparency is not for the faint of heart. It's scary, it's uncomfortable, and it forces you to expose more than you might want to. Here's the thing most managers won't tell you. Real transparency means you show your flaws, your uncertainties, your struggles. It's not just about sharing what's going well. It's about being honest when things aren't going the way you planned. It's about opening up to your team and saying, I don't have all the answers, and that's okay. But here's where it gets tough. When you share too much, you risk losing control. You risk making yourself vulnerable. You risk putting yourself in a position where your team sees your weaknesses, your doubts, your mistakes. And that can be downright terrifying, because if you don't control the narrative, your team might start questioning you. They might question your leadership. They might question your decision-making. They might wonder if you're really the right person to lead them. But let me be clear, secrecy is more dangerous than transparency. Secrecy breeds distrust. It creates room for gossip, assumptions, and misinterpretation. People will fill the void with their own theories, and those theories will usually be negative. And once trust starts to erode, it's incredibly difficult to rebuild. When you're not transparent, your team can feel like they're working in the dark. They feel disconnected, unimportant, and out of the loop. They'll lose faith in your leadership. They'll start questioning what's really going on, and their performance will reflect that. True transparency isn't about dumping every little detail on your team. It's about giving them insight into your decision-making process, letting them understand your struggles and successes, and being honest about what's working and what's not. It's about involving them in the bigger picture and showing them that they matter. Yes, being transparent is uncomfortable. Yes, it's scary. But the reality is, if you want to build a team that trusts you, if you want to create a culture of openness, collaboration, and honesty, you have to take that leap. Transparency isn't just about being open with your team when everything is great. It's about being honest in the tough times, when things are uncertain, when you've made a mistake, and when you don't know the way forward. That's when real leadership shines, when you show your team that vulnerability doesn't mean weakness, it means strength. So here's the challenge. Will you stay in your comfort zone and hide behind half-truths? Or will you open up, even when it's uncomfortable, and let your team in on the reality of what's happening? Real transparency is tough, but it's the only way to build a foundation of trust that lasts. Number 12, you can't just require ownership. As a manager, you've probably said it 1,000 times. I need you to take ownership, own your work, own your results. It sounds simple, doesn't it? Just tell them to take ownership, and they will, right? Wrong. Here's the truth that most managers overlook. You can't just demand ownership from your team. You have to model it. If you want your team to take full responsibility for their work, you first have to take full responsibility for your own actions, mistakes, and leadership. Think about it for a moment. How can you ask your team to own their mistakes when you're not owning yours? How can you demand accountability when you're passing the buck or pointing fingers when things go wrong? Leadership is about leading by example. It's about showing that ownership starts at the top, and it's your actions that set the tone. If you're sloppy with deadlines, don't follow through on commitments, or fail to take responsibility for your own mistakes, your team will see that. They'll mirror your behavior, and suddenly, you're not just leading a team, you're creating a culture of evasion, excuses, and blame shifting. Let's be clear about this. Ownership isn't just about taking credit for successes, it's about owning the failures too. You can't ask your team to step up and own their mistakes if you're unwilling to do the same. If you want them to take responsibility for their performance, then you must own your own performance first. Ownership also means empowering your team to make decisions, to take initiative, and to take responsibility for their actions. If you're micromanaging, constantly stepping in, and taking over their work, you're sending the message that you don't trust them to own anything. You've got to let go and let them step up. Think about it, when you model ownership, you're creating a culture of accountability. A culture where everyone knows that they're not just here to punch in and out. They're here to make an impact. They're here to take responsibility for what they create, for the outcomes of their decisions, and for the results they deliver. So, what do you need to do as a leader? Own your own mess first. Own the decisions, own the mistakes, and own the lessons. Show your team that taking ownership is not a punishment, but an opportunity for growth. When you model ownership, you inspire your team to do the same, and that's when the magic happens. When everyone takes ownership, the entire team thrives. But remember this, you can't force it. Ownership is earned by your actions, not your words. If you want your team to take ownership, you must show them what true ownership looks like. The question is, are you ready to take full responsibility for your role as a leader? Because only then can you truly expect your team to own theirs. Number 13. You can't do everyone's jobs. There's a trap many managers fall into, especially those who were promoted because of their technical expertise or strong work ethic. You start thinking you have to do it all. You start feeling like you have to take on tasks yourself because it'll be done right or quicker, or because you don't want to burden your team. You take on their work. You stay late to get things done. You try to do it all. But here's the hard truth. You can't do everyone's jobs. Not only is it physically impossible, but it's also the quickest way to burn out, diminish your own effectiveness, and stifle your team's growth. The reality is, as a manager, your role isn't to do the work. It's to empower your team to do their work. Your job is to provide them with the resources, guidance, and space they need to succeed, not to step in and take over every time there's a challenge. Letting go of control is hard, especially when you believe that no one can do the job as well as you can, or when you feel like you're the only one who can fix the problem. But the truth is, your team can do the job without you micromanaging. They can handle their responsibilities, make decisions, and contribute their expertise, and in the process, they will grow. When you do everyone's jobs for them, you rob your team of their autonomy. You rob them of the opportunity to learn, to develop problem-solving skills, and to feel empowered. Over time, this can lead to frustration, disengagement, and dependency. Your team starts to feel like they can't make a move without you, and that's not healthy for anyone. Here's the real kicker, you're also burning yourself out. You're stretching yourself to thin, trying to handle everything, and in doing so, you're not focusing on what's most important, leading, setting direction, and driving the big picture strategy. You're bogged down by the day-to-day tasks that others should be owning. So, what can you do? Let go, trust your team. Empower them to step up, make decisions, and take responsibility for their roles. Set clear expectations and provide support, but don't do their work for them. Letting go isn't just about stepping back. It's about stepping up in a different way. It's about focusing on the things only you, as a leader, can do. It's about coaching, mentoring, and creating an environment where your team feels empowered to succeed without you holding their hand every step of the way. If you want your team to thrive, you need to trust them. Give them the freedom to succeed and fail. Because when you let go, you're not only helping your team grow, you're helping yourself too. Number 14, the buck stops with you. As a manager, you've probably heard the phrase, the buck stops here, but do you really understand the weight of that responsibility? Let me tell you something that might hit you like a ton of bricks. When things go wrong, it's on you. The mistakes, the missteps, the breakdowns, they all trace back to your leadership. The buck stops with you. I know it's uncomfortable. It's easy to blame your team, your circumstances, or external factors when things don't go as planned. It's easy to say, it's not my fault, they messed up. But here's the harsh truth. If your team fails, that failure is a reflection of your leadership, Your systems, your processes, your guidance, or lack of it. Let me break it down for you. As the leader, you create the environment where success or failure happens. You build the systems, you set the expectations, and you provide the resources. When something goes wrong, it's because you either didn't provide the right systems or you didn't hold the right people accountable. It all comes back to you. And don't think for a second that avoiding accountability will work. If you try to pass the blame, if you hide behind excuses or avoid taking responsibility for failures, your team will notice. They'll lose respect for you. They'll lose trust in you. They'll stop following you. Leadership isn't about taking credit when things go well. It's about taking responsibility when things go wrong. When your team fails, you need to step up and say, "This happened under my watch and I will fix it." That's the essence of true leadership. It's hard, it's uncomfortable, and it requires humility. But here's the payoff. When you take responsibility, when you own the failures and the lessons, your team will see you as a leader worth following. They'll respect you not because you're perfect, but because you are willing to own up to your role in the success and the failure of the team. You're the one who sets the tone, who builds the culture, who creates the systems. And when things go wrong, that's on you. Your leadership decisions have led to this moment, and now it's up to you to fix it. Are you ready to take full responsibility for the results, both good and bad? Because as a leader, the buck stops with you. Number 15, you will be someone's villain. Here's the painful reality of leadership. You can do everything right, and still you'll be the villain in someone's eyes. You could be the most fair, the most empathetic, and the most thoughtful manager, yet there will always be someone who sees you as the bad guy. It's inevitable. It doesn't matter if you make the right decisions, treat everyone equally, or always try to do what's best for the team. There will always be someone who thinks you've wronged them, who feels like you've taken away something they deserved, or who simply doesn't agree with the choices you make. As a manager, you will have to make tough decisions. Sometimes you'll have to choose between two employees, make a call that doesn't benefit everyone equally, or enforce a policy that's not popular. These decisions might be the right ones for the company or the team, but they can still hurt someone. And when that happens, you become the villain. Think about it. How many times have you faced criticism from a team member who felt slighted, ignored, or mistreated, even though you were doing your job the best way you could? That's part of leadership. When you lead, you take on the role of decision maker, and not everyone is going to like the decisions you make. It's hard to stomach, but you have to realize that leadership is not about being liked by everyone. It's about making the best choices for the success of the team, the company, and the vision you're trying to achieve. Sometimes, those choices will hurt, and you'll have to stand firm in the face of criticism. The trick is to accept it. You have to accept that you cannot and will not be everyone's favorite person. If you try to be liked by everyone, you'll fail as a leader. Respect is earned through tough decisions and consistent integrity, not by being everyone's friend. Think of the great leaders in history. Did they make everyone happy? Absolutely not. They made difficult decisions and faced criticism, but they did it with conviction and integrity. And because of that, they earned the respect of those who truly mattered, those who understood that leadership is not about popularity, but about responsibility. So here's a question you need to ask yourself. Are you willing to be the villain in someone's story to be the hero in the story of the team? Because that's the hard truth. As a leader, you will be someone's villain. But if you stay true to your values, your decisions, and your commitment to the team's success, you will also be the hero in the larger story. Number 16, some people won't change. As a manager, you're naturally going to want to help everyone on your team improve. You'll give feedback, provide guidance, and offer support, hoping to unlock the potential in every single person. After all, your job is to develop people, right? But here's the harsh truth. Some people won't change. No matter how hard you try, no matter how many times you offer advice, no matter how much coaching and support you provide, there will be people on your team who just won't change. It's tough to accept. It feels like a personal failure, especially when you're invested in their success. You'll wonder, why can't they just get it? Why can't they improve? But the reality is, change is not something that can be forced. It has to come from within. Some people simply don't have the desire to grow, to develop new skills, or to adapt to the changing demands of their role. Some people have deeply ingrained habits, mindsets, or attitudes that are resistant to change, no matter how much feedback or encouragement they get. It's not always about you. Sometimes, it's about them and whether they are truly ready to put in the work to evolve. But here's the thing, you can't fix everyone. You can guide them, you can offer support, you can coach, but you cannot change someone who doesn't want to change. If they're not willing to put in the effort themselves, no amount of your time, energy, or resources will make a difference. And that's okay. It's not a failure on your part. It's simply a reality of human nature. So, what do you do when you face someone who won't change? First, you have to make a decision. Do you continue investing your time and energy in them, hoping they'll change? Or do you acknowledge that their inability or unwillingness to change could be a limitation for the team and take the necessary steps? As a manager, your role isn't to save everyone. It's to make the tough calls that benefit the whole team. Sometimes it means moving people out of the way who are holding the team back, even if it's a difficult decision. The best thing you can do for the person who won't change is to give them the opportunity to grow elsewhere, where they might be a better fit. And remember, the truth is this: not every person is meant to be a superstar, and that's okay. Focus on the people who want to change and grow, and support them with everything you've got. Don't waste your time trying to transform someone who isn't interested in being transformed. That's not your job. Your job is to help those who are ready to rise. At the end of the day, the most effective thing you can do is focus your energy on those who are ready for change and accept that some people just won't be part of that journey. You've heard the harsh truths, and while some of them may have stung, they are the reality that every great leader has faced. Leadership isn't about sitting in a comfortable chair and making easy decisions. It's about facing uncomfortable truths, taking responsibility, and owning your actions. The truth is, leadership is a journey of growth, sacrifice, and relentless commitment to doing the hard things. You're not here to make friends. You're here to build something great, to inspire a team to perform at their best, and to push boundaries. But along the way, you'll face setbacks, criticism, and challenges that will make you question if it's worth it. And that's where your real strength as a leader will be tested. When the pressure is on and you're about to make the hard call, remember this: leadership isn't about being liked, it's about being respected. It's about building a team that knows you'll take ownership of your mistakes, of your decisions, and of your successes. The buck will stop with you, and when you embrace that responsibility fully, you'll unlock the potential to lead with strength, vision, and impact. The road won't always be easy. There will be moments of doubt, moments when you question if you have the strength to lead. But if you remember these truths and embrace them, you'll grow into a leader who not only commands respect, but inspires greatness in others. You'll become someone who doesn't shy away from conflict, who owns mistakes, and who is willing to make the tough decisions, even when it costs you. So don't run from the responsibility. Don't fear the harsh truths. Because these truths are what will shape you into the leader you're meant to become. Embrace them, own them, and use them to drive your team forward. The future of your leadership starts now. Are you ready to rise? Now it's your turn. The truths we've discussed aren't just words on a screen. They are a blueprint for leadership. A blueprint that you can apply today. So ask yourself, what's the next step you're going to take as a leader? Are you ready to own your mistakes? To face the tough decisions and lead your team to success, the journey starts now. If you're ready to rise to the challenge of leadership, hit that subscribe button. Join this community of leaders who are dedicated to growing, evolving, and making an impact. And if you found value in these truths, share this video with others who need to hear it. Together, we can create a movement of leaders who don't shy away from responsibility, but instead take it on with confidence. Lead with purpose, own your journey. Start today. The world needs leaders who are ready to step up,